Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Prime Business segment here on Joy News with me, Pius Kojo Baka. The Bank of Ghana is being urged to mop up liquidity in the system to control the depreciating cedi. According to research lead at GCB Capital, Courage Buti, the central bank has to be cautious in easing monetary policies going forward to control the free fall of the cedi. Mr. Buti has been reacting to the decline of the local currency crossing the 13 cedi mark.
Fiscal side, can we do more than we're doing? Already, the fiscal tightening that happened in 2023 was quite tight and punitive. It's the reason unemployment rates are the levels they are. Is the reason the hardship is what it is, and of course, slightly looser this year. Lose this year relative to last year. But then the truth is that can we do more than we're doing in terms of fiscal tightening? I dare say probably not. The consequences, social consequences could be quite dire. So I expect we maintain things the way they are and try to keep the fiscals within check. On the monetary side of things, the BoG has the option of mopping up the liquidity in the system from the OMO operations. And of course, through the T-bill operations, government of Ghana can also mop up some liquidity from the system. It is when we mop up the currency in circulation that it will limit the potential for speculation, even in the FX market. Those are the things within our scope now we can do to try to manage the situation. Plus moral suasion, really. Ghanaians need to understand that your personal objective, it's not wrong to try to accumulate some dollars, can have dire consequences for the economy. And we saw that in 2022 when the cedi depreciated to over 50%. And of course, inflation skyrocketed, prices of goods doubled, quadrupled, and the consequences were just, unbearable for all of us. If we pursue our individual selfish interests, which is not wrong legally, it has consequences for all of us. So we need to question ourselves properly. Do we have need for the dollar you are buying? And all of that. And we need to take on that nationalist hat as well. Otherwise, we will complicate life for all of us. And you would hold some dollars in your room, but at the time you would convert it, probably prices would have jumped well ahead of the gains you would have made from any such investment.
Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Moisi VII, is worried the power sector is on the brink of collapse if the government fails to acknowledge the challenges in the sector. He accused industry players for failing to criticize government.
We can only say that we'll have a sector tomorrow. If we accept the challenge, then work at it. That is the only way we can have a sector. You know, over the past few, or maybe a decade plus, the challenge has been an issue of adequate install capacity and also supply of fuel. The adequacy in the install capacity or available capacity to churn out power that could cover our peak demand has been dealt with long time ago, before 2017. And what is left is the fuel supply challenge. If you don't have money, then you cannot procure the fuel as well. If you can raise enough money and be liquid enough in the sector, then we have a sector that's going to work. But as we have it today, the fuel supply is a challenge. Transmission lines and system have their own challenge. Distribution leg has its own challenge. If we're able to address all this within the value chain, then of course our system will be safe. If we don't do, we may be sitting on a time bomb. Unfortunately, the utilities that have to convey to us what exactly the problem is, including GridCo and the ECG, are also collaborating the government wrongly and suggesting that we are in a good position. For God's sake, if you cannot supply power to your people, you just have to churn out some timetable for them to plan their daily lives. But you don't go and also behave as if everything is right. Behind the scene, they speak to us and they tell us things are not right. But if they have to be bold enough to face it and count it as same, they are unable to do that. And that's quite unfortunate.
No longer in the energy space, and BoG Oil Storage and Transportation Company, BOS, has justified the 3% increase in margins, insisting it's needed to expand infrastructure and stabilize prices at the pumps. It is coming after the National Petroleum Authority increased the margins to 12 pesos per litre on all products earlier this month. However, some consumers are worried about the impact on pricing of petroleum products, especially during these times. Dr. Edwin Provençal is Chief Executive of BoG.
It's better than nothing. At least when they gave us the 3 pesos increment, increasing it from 3 to 6 pesos, Ghanaians saw the impact it had on our infrastructure. We're able to bring up all the dead infrastructure. We couldn't do all of it. When it was increased again, we're able to do something. We will try and optimize whatever we have, despite the circumstances, even though it's not up to what we need. Ghanaians should expect that the monies will be put to good use, especially in this time where we have gone to IMF and SOEs are being limited to the amount they can borrow from the banks. So at least this money is coming in at the right time, where we started some very huge automation and huge infrastructure projects that at least it may not be enough, but it will help support the rollout of these projects and initiatives within the company.
So help me some clarity again. So for you tell me that this increment will help and improve the automation of your systems, and that is where the funds will be directed to.
Yes, we've started the automation project. It's a $24 million project. It's going to run for two years. And we were wondering, in our minds, when we're doing this, the strategy was to go for a facility and use the facility to run this project. We also have to lay the pipeline we brought from, you remember the ones we brought from Houston. We have to lay that 12-inch pipeline from Tema to Akosombo. So these are 2 huge projects we have to do, and we're banking our hopes on going to the financial markets to procure some funds. Unfortunately, funds are tight based on IMF issues we're going through. So we welcome this amount of money because it can help cushion, added to our internally generated funds, it can help cushion some of the funds we need for these projects.
So you talked about loan. I mean, what about using this as using the receivables to securitize any facility that you want to take? Because now there's surety that these monies are going to come in. How will this impact on your quest to get facilities to also fund this project?
We are still pressing. We have some, before any SOE takes a loan, it has to go to the finance ministry for a no objection. Once the finance ministry gives you a no objection, the finance ministry is mandated to carry the amount of money in their loan book as contingent liability. You get what I mean? And that then increases the debt in the finance books, even though it shouldn't be so. If we get a no objection, it will go a long way to help in us procuring funds but for almost a year we requested for the no objection. We haven't gotten it. And what we get is because of the IMF program.
Vivo Energy Ghana, Shell licensee, has launched its latest motor engine oil dubbed Shell Hilux Ultra Lubricant. The lubricant has been designed with high technology from Shell, and it operates at maximum to protect engine and save costs on fuel. Now, marketing manager of Vivo Energy Ghana, Kweku Sechikan, says the lubricant is affordable and very convenient. Here is more.
The Shell Hilux Ultra SP uses unique active cleansing technology to help high-performance engines operate at maximum efficiency by helping them to protect them from power-robbing deposits and wear.
This is our new innovation and the introduction of the latest of our products onto the market. It is the Shell Hilux Ultra 0W20 SP. And as my technical colleagues will tell you, SP is the highest of all the technical specifications that we have. Today, modern cars are looking for thinner oils, and our Shell Hilux 0W20 SP is one of such thinner oils. What sets it apart from others is its carbon neutrality, or the carbon neutral properties that it has. And it is therefore ideal for vehicles that have been recommended by the original equipment manufacturers to be using that particular specification, which is the 0W20. What is unique about this oil is that it helps to reduce the carbon emissions into the environment, and therefore it is environmentally friendly. In terms of the mileage it covers up to 50% more, and therefore it can go up to about 10,000 kilometers with an oil change. And therefore it ends up saving the customer money in terms of the frequency of oil change.
The product is unlikely to present any significant health or safety hazard when properly used in the recommended application, and good standards of personal hygiene are maintained.
Now to some agri stories. Fish farmers affected by the Akonsobo Dam spillage incurred a loss of about 54 million cedis due to the incident. This was revealed by the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Aquaculture, Jacob Ajika. According to him, the Chamber has engaged government on different levels. However, there has still not been support to the victims. Speaking on the sidelines of the Farmed Blue Food Festival, Mr. Ajika indicated that some farms had to shut down as a result. Here's a report.
Hundreds of Ghana's cage fish farmers are still counting their losses following a devastating impact of the water spillage from the Akonsobo Dam along the Volta Lake. New information by the Chamber of Aquaculture indicates that about 800 fish farms worth 54 million cedis were destroyed. Chief Executive of the Chamber, Jacob Ajika, says they are still waiting on the government to come to their aid.
The affected farmers haven't gotten any support at the moment. So every farmer, or most of affected farmers, are on their own at the moment. They have to source for their own funds to come back or to recover from this. So again, these are some of the risks that comes with the aquaculture industry. And we're hoping that through our collaboration with our stakeholders, a lot of attention will be paid to the aquaculture industry. And once again, I must say that we're still appealing to the government to come to the aid of those farmers, because most of them couldn't recover from this. Some have collapsed totally, and a lot of young men and women have lost their source of livelihood. They are unemployed at the moment because once the farms that they work for are affected, they just don't have any job. In terms of number of farmers, we projected over 896, but in terms of figures, the overall impact of that dam spillage was 54,867,000 Ghana cedis.
In Ghana, the aquaculture industry plays a vital role in the nation's economy. As consumers become more discerning, there is a growing need for transparent information about the products they purchase, particularly in terms of health, safety, and sustainability. It is for this reason the Chamber of Aquaculture organized the Farmed Blue Food Festival under the Blue Food Partnership Ghana initiative. Karen Demavivas is the overall lead of the Blue Food Partnership from the World Economic Forum.
It's been very important and gratifying to us that the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Fisheries Commission is very supportive of this work. We cannot do anything without the enabling environment that needs to flourish and be more resilient for the progress of this sector and for these industry players, and alongside that, and this is a great testament to this event, it's also really important to integrate the science and the academic community, the research community into our work and our partnership building, because the private sector can't work on the innovative solutions alone. I think that we need more knowledge sharing across sectors and also break silos in order to get to a point where we can more sustainably grow aquaculture and create a brighter future for the sector in Ghana.
The Farmed Blue Food Festival is sponsored by the Blue Food Partnership Ghana initiative, led by the World Economic Forum in partnership with the Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana, with the global technical support of Future Fish.
As part of measures to increase financing within the agriculture value chain, Agri Impact Consult says there is the need for more sensitization programs for farmers. According to Deputy Chief Executive Officer Juliana Santi Date, this is key to addressing unemployment within the economy. She spoke to Joy Business at a signing ceremony of an MOU with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Agri Impact under Happy Program MOU with KNUST is to leverage on their e-learning infrastructure to build a new cadre of over 500 youth who will use ICT to create enterprises in the agribusiness space.
Our primary goal is to create dignified and fulfilling jobs for 326,000 young women, young men, and then persons with disability. This project is being supported by the MasterCard Foundation, and it is part of their bigger plan to create jobs for 3 million young persons in Ghana, and especially with a focus on young women. So we are picking these 4 value chains, which is rice, soya, poultry and tomatoes, and we've brought together these partners who have years of experience working in all these 4 value chains to work together to increase production and productivity, to also increase value addition, market access, and enterprise development. And then lastly, we're also looking at policy issues. So we are looking at policy issues that will address youth involvement in agric. We are looking at policy issues that will address the role of persons with disability in the agricultural space, and we are also looking at policies that can transform the 4 value chains.
The enhancing agricultural productivity and prosperity for youth will create over 300,000 jobs. Over 100,000 tons of food will be produced as part of the project.
Away from agric-related stories, tax partner at KPMG, Michael Boateng, is pushing for the rationalization of the country's tax laws to lessen the burden on businesses. According to him, irrespective of the fact that some taxes have been passed, government has a greater role to play in ensuring businesses are not overburdened. There is more in this report. Businesses in Ghana have in recent times been inundated with numerous taxes, adversely impacting the operations, profits, as well as ability to fulfill tax obligations. This has unfortunately forced many out of business, with majority of them barely surviving. In a bid to assist its members stay afloat and thrive, the Accra Regional Chapter of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, in partnership with auditing firms KPMG and JS Molu, has organized a workshop on efficient tax planning for all members. Speaking to Joy Business, tax partner at KPMG, Michael Boateng, said it is imperative to rationalize the country's tax laws to lessen the burden on businesses.
I believe that as we are going through this process, a time will come that they need to have rationalized some of these taxes based on the burden on companies and to make them sustainable. I think this is a discussion that we need to have, because the issue has been that, and it's been there, that with the expansion of the taxes and others, some companies, are bearing the brunt. But at the end of the day, that discussion needs to be looked at, to make sure that companies are sustainable.
Treasurer of the Accra Regional Branch of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Kwame Boidi, stated that tax planning is a critical aspect of business management that directly imparts financial performance and compliance, hence the need for the workshop.
A tax is a big thing. If we were all to pay our taxes, we wouldn't be crying. So we thought we would make our members aware that if you pay tax, it's good for government revenue, and it's a legal thing, so it's binding. But on the corporate side of it too, when you pay your taxes, it makes your finances, at the end of the day, your financials look more credible. You're able to upscale, you'll be able to get proper people to partner you, and so on and so forth. So that's a key reason why we are doing this, to allow our members to grow and to be good corporate citizens.
On his part, managing partner of auditing firm JS Molu, Bernard Bimpon, stressed that effective tax planning strategies enable businesses to optimize their tax liabilities while ensuring compliance with relevant regulations.
Tax laws has already been, passed. It seems to act, it seems to force. So fighting with GRA or implementing authority will not solve any problem. What you can do is look at what has been passed, the taxes that has been passed, and see how you can benefit from it, or how you can effectively manage your business within the taxes that has been passed.
The workshop aims to unlock the secrets of tax efficiency. For Joy Business, Pius Kojobaka. More on taxes, Vice President of the Association of Customs Housing Agents, Ghana, Philip Bedu Mensah, is urging the government to remove some outmoded taxes on importation at the ports. According to him, the removal of state warehouse rent, interest charges, and the COVID-19 levy charged on importations will enhance the ease of doing business at the port while making the port operational competitive within the sub-region. He spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority's first-time release study report in Accra.
State warehouse rent and interest charge. They are taxes that the government needs to take it out of the schedule, because when you talk about interest charge, what is interest charge? At first, in the 70s, importers were giving money to go to the market and bring goods. So when you bring the goods and you are not clearing them on time, then there's interest on the money they have given you. That's where government take the interest. But today, nobody is giving anybody's money. So the goods have come at the port and you are charging interest on them. These are the charges we are trying to speak to the authorities to take it away. And then again, when we talk about state warehouse rent, the goods are not in the hands of the state. It is in the hands of private operators. But the state is taking rent, which is not applicable in this modern era. Because at first, in the olden days where these state warehouse rents were applicable, where the time even containerization has not even started coming to the state. So goods were put in at the state warehouse. So that is where the state was in control of the goods. So when we say a state warehouse is applicable, we understand. But not today, that the goods are in the hands of the private operators, that they are taking care, they are having their securities, their guards guiding the containers. And you, the government, you are taking advantage of it, taking the money. And again, we talk about this COVID levy. We have come a long way. Over 2 years now since COVID has been departed from us. But the state is still taking advantage of taking this levy to recover whatever cost they have. We are, as policymakers, we are pleading with the state to ensure that these few taxes that I've mentioned, if they can do away with them, so that it will reduce the cost of doing business at the port for us.
Time now for Entrepreneur in You, and you need to get your business jargon straight. You never know who you are talking to and the extent of interest they may have in you as an entrepreneur, or you are a businessman. Now, here is Dr. Maxwell Ampong with today's episode of Entrepreneur in You.
Hello, have you asked yourself the difference between profits and margin? It's because these are terms that we use interchangeably every day. So we tend to not realize that profit is different from margin and they have different functions within your business. Your profit is the amount of money you make after you subtract your cost of goods. So say I were to sell clothing, I would go to the wholesaler, buy them in certain quantities, bring them to your shop, and then sell them at a higher price than I bought it. If you bought your clothes at 600 cedis, and after selling all these clothes, you got 1,000 cedis. That means you made a profit of 1,000 minus 600. So you made 400 cedis. The difference between profit and margin is that margin is a function. It's a percentage. It's not an actual amount. It means you made 400 cedis divided by 1,000 cedis, which is 40%. So margin is basically the profit divided by your sales price expressed as a percentage. That makes margin a very important ratio to have as a business person. And margin is the same as profit margin. The term is used interchangeably most of the time, but your profit is an actual figure, margin is a ratio, it's a percentage, and your profit margin is the same as your margin. But what if on the way I decided to buy an iPhone or a new shoe or a new watch and made it a business expense? That is why your net profit shows the actual profitability of your business, including all expenses. It includes the clothes you bought at 600, your electricity, it includes your taxes, your permits, your transportation, salaries, everything. If at the end of everything, subtracting all of these expenses, you made 200 cedis and still sold at 1,000 cedis, cedis, it means that you made a profit of 400 cedis, but a net profit of 200 cedis. So your margin might be 40%, but your net margin in this case is 20%. So as an entrepreneur, as we fundraise, investors and your friends and family that wants to chip in will need to be shown these ratios to prove that, yes, you, number one, understand how the business atmosphere is, but also to understand why the ratio of your margin and your net margin shows how efficient you use your money and also shows how efficient your sales process is. So it means that for every CD that comes in, 40% is profit, 20% is pure profit. I'm sure you're thinking what I'm thinking. There might be some inefficiencies in the extra 20% that you might be able to carve out to make more money than you would normally make. So if someone says I made a margin of 200 CDs, you have to ask the person, maybe that's your profit. What's your actual margin? Because margin is a percentage and profit is the actual figure. And margins show how efficient your sales process is, whilst profit does exactly what the word says, how profitable or the potential profitability of the business. That's it for today. Keep well.
Brought to you by Africa School of Entrepreneurship.
Dr. Ampong with today's edition of Entrepreneur You. Ending Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Bakasi. Same time tomorrow. Today.